Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how to be productive while working from home. I almost said work-life balance because I do feel like this is almost a conversation of work-life balance a little bit, because when you work from home, you're surrounded by your life, like your dishes and your laundry and your neighbors, and so much stuff is calling to you and pulling for your attention, even if it's just Netflix. That it can just be so difficult to work for yourself. So I want to create this series today, starting with some tips of how I organize my schedule and my life and get things done in my business. And I want to continue the conversation. So as we go through this video series, please leave me your questions, leave me your comments so that I can answer them as we go along, because I'm definitely going to be creating some follow-ups to this video. So I want to start with some super basic things that I do to stay really focused and productive when I'm working from home. And I think that this starts with two things. It starts with getting dressed in the morning, because that's optional when you work from home, and having a designated workspace, even if it's literally just a table and a chair somewhere, like at your dining room table. Knowing where that designated workspace is and getting dressed and going there, it acts as if, you know, it's like putting your brain in that mode of saying, now I'm going to work, now I'm going to be productive. In the morning when I go and I sit down and I have my like tea or water or coffee, I know that this is my space. I have like my planners there and I sit down in the same spot every day. I know that I have to go through my agenda, and we're gonna get to that. But having that space that I go to every day that's the same, that routine is really helpful, because then I don't have to decide. You don't have to make any decisions. You know, where am I gonna work today? What am I gonna start on? All those kind of things are decided when you've pre-designated where that workspace is gonna be. So before I can start anything, I have to decide what is the most important, because something, somewhere, whether it's personal or business, is going to try to come in and steal my time and attention. It's going to happen. So I decide what's gonna be important, what am I gonna be focusing on, and what is gonna get my time and attention most at monthly meetings. So I will sit down with myself, just me, nothing fancy, and a couple sheets of paper every month, at the end of the month typically, thinking about the next month ahead or the next quarter ahead. When I sit down to plan, I think about big picture, I think about projects that I'm gonna be working on, I think about clients I'm gonna be working with, and things that I wanna make progress on. And when you think not just about what's happening today in your business, but rather where you wanna be in maybe 30 days, it really helps you to gain a little bit of perspective. So it's during that little planning business meeting with myself that I really determine where I'm going to be placing my time and my effort. So when I come into my office and I sit down in the morning, I already know what's the most important, so that I'm not just busy, but I'm productive. What that means is I'm closing the loop on projects, I'm finishing things, I'm publishing things, I'm making sure that there's money coming into my business. So when you start thinking of yourself and your workday as productive and not just busy, you may find that you actually end up making more money and staying more focused, because you're not so caught up in seeing how many emails you can get through just because it's an impressive number, but rather how you can be the most productive person possible. So when you start thinking that way in terms of productivity versus being busy, you'll really start to focus on the things that really matter. So you might do less stuff, but you're more productive, if that makes sense. Don't be tempted to fill your schedule. Instead, try to think about how you can be the most productive. And the way that I do this is I choose a top 3. So once I know what those priorities are going to be, I write down 3 things that I would like to accomplish during a given workday, so that if I only got those 3 things done, I would know it was a productive day. Because when you work for yourself and you work from home, it can be really difficult to know if you were even productive, because you know that task list that you have can seem never ending. So having those 3 action items, your top 3 on your list for that day, can really help you to separate from what, you know, that huge list that's not feasible or possible or realistic, and rather focus on 3 things that are realistic and are possible for that day, and then focus on those 3 things. So the last tip that I have for you today is to be really protective of your time. Think about where you're losing time, what's taking the most of your time, what's distracting you the most, what things are drawing you in that probably shouldn't be, and then start to be really proactive against those things. Even good things can be bad time wasters if you do it enough. So getting coffee with a friend can be kind of time consuming, right? So maybe you can batch those together. So once you start analyzing your time and analyzing how you have been spending your time at home and in hopes to get more productive, looking at where you're falling short, I would say find out whether or not you can eliminate those things or couple them together, so batch them together. So maybe you could have a day of meetings where you would go one time, drive one time to a coffee shop, meet with a few people, and then drive home. Or have one batch day of Skype meetings or Google Hangout meetings. That way you don't have to get yourself ready and change gears constantly saying, okay, we're gonna do email, and then I have to do this meeting, and then I have to go meet this person for coffee, and then I have to answer the phone because this other person did an impromptu meeting. So as you rein in your schedule, you can start to group like items together, and it is going to change the way you think about your schedule and about your time. And it's also going to save you an immense amount of time because you won't be so distracted jumping from topic to topic and item to item as a person that works from home. In the next video, I'm going to share all of the apps and things, tricks that I have for myself to keep myself on task, to keep myself motivated, and to keep myself moving and chugging along even when I really don't want to and when distractions are popping up left and right. So if this is you and you feel like distractions are everywhere, you're definitely going to want to check out this next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as usual, I will see you next week. Bye guys.